Welcome back. Glad to see you joining us again. Today's episode we're going to illustrate one of the proper methods to fix a loose operating rod guide. Now if your operating rod guide is loose, it's going to let your operating rod flop all around in lateral movements, which is going to impact your gas piston in different places as it shoots. It's going to cause uneven gas piston wear and bad accuracy as well. Okay, so we'll get started. Okay, so what we have here, we have the proper way to secure a loose operating rod guide is to knurl it. And when you knurl it, what you're going to do is you're going to create raised edges around the raised portion of the barrel where the operating rod guide clamps onto, or where it presses over. Okay, and so what a knurling tool is, and they probably run about $50. So definitely, if you don't want to make the investment to buy a knurling tool, just send it to a gunsmith and have him fix your operating rod guide. Okay, so as I loosen this, what you'll see are all these raised edges, and what we're going to do, it's going to cause these raised bumps around the barrel. Okay, so obviously for this particular procedure, what you're going to want to do is take your rifle apart. Okay, you get a block of wood, and what you're going to use is a 1/8 roll pin punch. So this is a punch that has a tip to it, okay, and it'll keep it centered on that roll pin. And so since this one's really loose already, I probably shouldn't have to tap on it very hard. Okay, so we're back, and we went ahead and we got this operating rod guide out. Got the pin, managed to save it for later. So the key now is this is the surface that we need to knurl. Okay, now an important thing you need to know about knurling tools is there's different teeth counts or different radiuses that you can get. Okay, so as you rotate this around the barrel, you want to make sure you have the right size wheels. And if you don't, that's probably okay too. What you need to do then is just make sure that as you're going around the barrel that you're not going to continue to go around, so that you're not going to continue to go around and end up smashing down teeth that have already been raised up. Okay, so you want to be careful of that. So personally what I would do is only rotate it around just enough to get to knurl just around the barrel once. Okay, then you can back off and go over it a couple of times, but just don't go in full revolutions. Okay, so what you want to do is literally just tighten it just a little bit and go around. Okay, you only want to do this enough so that you have the teeth marks all around. Now go ahead and tighten that up a little bit as it loosens up, and you can rotate this a little bit more. And then it's going to loosen up, tighten it a little bit more. You can see down here we have some more aggressive knurling. Now what's really cool about knurling is what you're doing is you're just slowly disrupting the surface of this band of the barrel. Okay, and what you're doing is you're creating these raised portions. So as you get this operating rod guide and you hammer it on here, what it's going to do is it's going to displace the metal within those air gaps that were created when you knurled this barrel. Okay, and I like this method a lot better. Some people, what they do is they literally just get a chisel and they just hammer a bunch of X marks around the barrel. That'll work too. What I don't like is possibly distorting the rifling with inside the barrel. Okay, so now that we've got that, we're going to go ahead and back it off again and trial fit this one more time. Okay, so it's still a little bit of a loose fit. It's a little tighter than it was before, and we're just going to keep trying. Okay, so now this is where we really, how we really want to be. Okay, so now I've got it to the point where it's going to take some force to actually put it all the way on. Now at this point, what I'm going to do is we're going to roughen up the surfaces inside this operating rod guide. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put it all into place, line it up, and we're going to epoxy it in place so that it sets. Okay, so what I've done here is before we set this operating rod guide onto the barrel, I'm going to pre-mark it into alignment so that when I set it on there with the JB weld, I'll know exactly how to line it up, and it'll get me in the ballpark, and it'll give me time while I get my gas cylinder installed so that I can check the alignment. Okay, so go ahead and we're just going to slide this on real quick. Okay, and then what we'll do is get your gas cylinder assembly. Okay, and since we just tightened it up in one of the previous videos, I'm just going to have to tap on it, and that's what we want. That's exactly how you want it. You want to have to tap it on there, or at least take a little bit of force to put it on. And then we'll go ahead and we'll slide our operating rod in. Okay, so now at this time, what you can do is flip it over, and what we're going to do is we're going to try to line this up as best as possible. Okay. Okay, so somewhere about right there. So I got it right there, got my position down, and as I wiggle this operating rod, see if I can get dead on there. As I wiggle this operating rod back and forth, you can tell it has a roughly equal amount of play on both sides. So I can push it to the left, and I can push it to the, I can hit the edge here. Oops, I went too far. So let's see if we can tighten that up a little bit. Okay. So that's what we want. Basically, we want to get the operating rod guide into orientation where it's going to be aligned. And then we'll gently flip it over here. Okay. And get a Sharpie. And we're going to basically mark a reference line here so that when you get your barrel on, you know how to match it up. You can roughly hit that spot and you'll be on. Okay. Okay, so it's been a while since I've been working on this video. Where we are now is we're going to get ready to seat the operating rod guide onto the barrel. And when I do it, I'm going to use some super high secret epoxy that works really well. Anyway, I already trial fit this and it fits pretty good as is, but I'm still going to try to do a better or complete job and just epoxy it as well as knurl it. That's really going to ensure that it doesn't move no matter what. So aside from the friction from the knurling, we're going to have the epoxy that's going to keep it set and keep it from moving. Now, as with anything, what you want to do is you want to clean your threads. You want to clean the mating surfaces just with some, denatured alcohol or some acetone. And what I've also done is tape the barrel to contain the epoxy as it oozes out, and taped around here. I also made now something else you can do is when you install this operating rod guide, if you have one that fits really tight and you need to hammer it on and you can't really get to it, a hammer's just not really doing the job because you're hitting it at an angle. What you can do is you can go to Home Depot or Lowe's or something, and you can get a 3/4 inch pipe, okay, like this one. The only thing is, this is a piece of metal that's been rolled and welded, so inside there's some slag. And so what I did is I deburred the mouth of this pipe, and then I got a large extension socket and I drove it through the pipe to take out any burrs. So that when I slide this over my barrel, you can just slide this right over the barrel and onto the operating rod guide and just hammer away, and it'll give it a nice straight impact to the rear and seat your operating rod guide on the barrel shoulder. So as you can see here, this is what I'm talking about. You can just slide that pipe right over the barrel, and you can just hammer on the pipe from the other end without worrying about getting a sideways impact on your operating rod guide. And that should make things a little easier if you're having a hard time. Another thing that's really good to do before you epoxy anything is to roughen up the mating surface inside here just with a piece of sandpaper. You don't have to go overboard. Just kind of roughen up the surface a little bit. And then clean that off real good with some alcohol and a rag. And let that dry, and then apply your epoxy, and you'll be all set. Alright, so we got our epoxy. We're just going to mix just a little bit of it. You don't need a whole lot. 50-50 mix ratio. Or equal parts black and white, whatever you want to look at it. Just going to scoop some here. We're just going to slather it around here. Got a real nice base coat here. Okay. And go ahead and put some on the inside of the guide itself. I got this little dental pick set from a craft store down the street. Usually you'll find it with the clay working tool, so that's basically what it is. It's some kind of a clay working bit that they sell. Once you're all done, wipe off your tool, make sure it doesn't get JB Weld all over it. also touch up this area here, just so that you can see where the JB weld is going to, or where the barrel shoulder stops, so you don't keep hammering on the thing and go too far. So we'll go ahead and slide this on carefully. You see, I went ahead and taped the threads just to make sure that I wouldn't get JB weld all over the place. And obviously you want to I'll push it on as far as I can go. Now JB weld is pretty good. You got like an hour, I think, to work with it. So go ahead and okay. I'll flip this bad boy over. Insert our operating rod. And we'll go ahead and start locating this where we need to. And now you can begin to tap on your doesn't look like it's moving too easily. Again, before it gets too stiff, what you want to do is go ahead and put that operating rod back in, see if it shifted. Okay. And if you need to, just tap that over a little bit. Okay. Take the operating rod back out. Since the operating rod guide isn't in all the way, it'll actually come out if you just pull back far enough. So I think I have to get the pipe, and so it seems to be set pretty good. Again, I'll check it, I'll tap it, and I'll just keep checking it, kind of go slow. And all I'm doing here is I've got a book or something, maybe a block of wood down on the ground, and you just put the receiver on the ground, barrel up, and just hammer away. Okay, so after hammering on it a couple of times, I can't really tell where the shoulder is with all the JB weld on there, so just take a break and wipe some off, see how far you got to go. And again, just check your alignment. You got some time to work here. Don't rush it, otherwise you're going to seize it on there pretty good, and you're going to have to heat it up just to get it off. And I'm already getting JB weld all over my hands. Okay, so far we're still in pretty good alignment. You know, I might want to give it just a gentle tap on the side there. That looks like it's pretty good. Looks like I can just keep on hammering away, and I should be alright. And one good check also is if you can throw that roll pin punch. If you can put that through the hole, then you're there. So if I slide this all the way through, which I can't quite yet, then that means that that would mean that I'm fully seated on the where I need to be. Okay, so what I did is I left that roll pin punch in there, and I just kept pounding on it and kept tapping on it until I saw that it go all the way in. Okay, see if you guys can see that. So there you go. Now we just need to do a final alignment check on it. And again, we got JB Weld all over the place, so we'll take this out. We'll throw our gas cylinder back on, throw our operating rod in, and hopefully we got lucky and we did not disturb, and it looks like we are pretty much dead set where we need to be. So now this operating rod guide has been knurled and epoxied in, and we're in alignment. We are golden. Okay, so now that we know we've got everything aligned, we'll go ahead and start cleaning this up. Okay, so here we are, and we're all done. It's really optional if you want to go ahead and throw the roll pin back in. At this point in time, it's probably not going to do much. And what I went ahead and did is I went ahead and I cleared out that roll pin hole anyway. So once the epoxy is dry, I'm just going to go ahead and drive that roll pin back in, and it'll at least be there if my good friend wants it back. So it's a pretty clean job. You know, you can, if you really only notice the JB Weld if you're really looking for it. Okay, doesn't have to be gooped up and slobbed in there. But like I said, this thing is no longer moving. It's not budging at all. There is no more wiggle to it. And at this point, that's all the knurl job. The epoxy isn't even close to setting. So this is all knurling that's keeping this as stiff as it is. And then now that we have all the JB Weld pretty much gone off of all the parts, you know, I'll do one last fit check and make sure that we're good. And again, there you go. We've got some good alignment. You know, you've got a little bit of play side to side, which is designed into it, but we're not grossly hanging off the ends. And that's what you want to see right there. It's a nice, good, stable operating rod guide. Okay, thanks for watching.